Hello, to my STCC online comp English 101 course. I apologize for taking so long to record this video. I alluded to this in my emails too that I was having some technical difficulties with Blackboard and figuring it out, but I think we're good now. So I did just want to make this brief video. I'm going to talk about some important things, but I'm going to try to keep it brief to just kind of frame the course and what's going on and address any issues. So I'll be super brief about me. My name is Joe Corshane. That's how you say it. It's weird on the paper. I've been teaching English for a long time, and I was a little bit late to the game in receiving the assignment for this course, so that's why I was a little behind in getting signed up for Blackboard and things like that. But um, I want you to know that I want to be really available, right? Like, I mean, I'm not in front of my email 24 hours a day. So if you email me, I might take a little while to get back to you, but I really want to be as responsive as I can in this kind of online format. So please, if you're having issues, don't hesitate to reach out. Many of you have, and I encourage you to do so. I want this to be a good experience for you. Online courses are a blessing and a curse, especially in an English class and a writing class. A lot of that tends to run better when there's some social interaction and learning. So as much as we can do for me to kind of facilitate that and fill in the gaps, I'm happy to do so. So I just want to touch on a couple things that felt easier for me to say than to write, but I will kind of type up a little message about this too. But I had you read Shitty First Drafts by Anne Lamott because I think that article does a really good job at laying out the case for ways to start your writing that discourage you from not thinking too much, but thinking in a way that kind of gets in the way from you starting, right? Overthinking, because if you write a shitty first draft, you just kind of get some stuff down, and I think that's a great way to start. But I just wanted to say that my philosophy on this particular course, English 101, is that it is a writing course. So even though there will be some things we read, the main text of this course is the writing you produce. If you think about English class in like high school, generally it's based around a book, right? You read To Kill a Mockingbird, and that is the main text of what you do. But in this class, the text you produce, that's the main text of this course. So just a different way to think about it. And Shitty First Drafts is good because it opens up the idea of writing as a process. I'm a big writing process guy. I think good writing requires a process of getting things down and getting some feedback and refining. I've been that guy who's just done his writing the night before it was due, and I get the impulse to do that. But I also think like if you want your writing to be the best it can be, it does involve a process of like iteration. So the grading for the writing in this course is something I really wanted to explain because it's a process-based rubric. So I am grading you just as much, if not more, on your willingness to engage in a writing process, which is to say, to start with a shitty first draft and to move through different iterations as you kind of refine it, as I am on your final product. So if you skip all those process pieces and just hand in a beautifully polished, wonderful final product, you don't get a very good grade, right? And I'll put the rubric up that explains that. So it's not just abstract. I think you'll see that. But so I just want to put that on your radar. You can email me if there's questions about that. I also had you read that ChatGPT article, right? This is the big thing that English writing teachers are dealing with. I'm not exposing you to any secrets, excuse me, by telling you that you can press a button and have something do your writing for you in the year 2025. That's the thing that we have to contend with, and this is an online course, so it's not like that's something I definitely have to contend with because I don't see you. I can't even see you writing. I had you read that article not to discourage and kind of be like bad if you use AI. I actually I'm a pretty big smarter, not harder guy. I think if there's an efficient way to do something, I'm all for it. But I think in the case of ChatGPT and this course in particular, I was trying to get across to you that when I have you do writing in here, It's for the purpose of doing thinking, right? To me, writing is thinking. It's not about the writing necessarily, because if you want to make the case to me like something can fix my grammar and spelling, then fine, right? Like, I mean, sure, if that's a tool, but nothing can replace your brain. Hopefully, nothing should replace your brain, and that's kind of what the point of that article was. Is the writing in here, I'm much more interested in your ideas. Like I think that when you start outsourcing your thinking to a robot because of convenience, you start going down kind of a bad path. Like it's good in the moment, but there's some long-term effects there, right? I mean, there's been some, as the article said, there's emerging studies about the effect of repeated chat GPT use on the brain and cognition. And you know, if you tell a computer to do all your thinking for you, I just think that that catches up to you eventually. If I told you that there was a person who built a robot that went and did basketball practice for them, no one would be shocked when it turns out that they're not a good basketball player, right? Because they didn't do it. And it's the same thing with thinking, right? And logic and cognition. So I just make this plea to you to say, like, I totally get convenience. I totally get time crunches, but the writing I ask you to do in this course is not just for writing's sake. It's because I think that there's some very useful and beneficial thinking to be done. And when you think in writing, you think in terms of organization and word choice, and it's just all these other outlets that sometimes you don't always get where you just keep thinking up here. So yeah, that's my pitch to do your own writing. So whether I was successful or not, you can be the judge. But I do really believe that it's not just about trying to make you do more work. Yeah, okay. So I know I've heard that there was a hiccup, at least for one person, with getting the text for the course. Disability visibility. It is the only required text. It's a collection of nonfiction pieces that each of them deal with a different disability. So the author is disabled and they're writing about their experience in some way, shape, or form. It is a model of good writing, good personal writing, and it's also a very important topic. So I like reading it. But I was told that it's not at the bookstore, which both does and doesn't surprise me because I did tell them about it, but also like I said, this course was kind of this kind of last minute thing. So if it fell through the cracks, I'm not terribly shocked. So I'm gonna reach out to them again to remind them that we need this book for this course. But I also on the syllabus, I put a link to Amazon to purchase this. It's not much, right? I think in my Amazon link, this says it's worth $18, but I think on Amazon it's like 11. So I know that's the way a lot of us do our shopping. It might be worth your while not to wait for the bookstore and just kind of try to figure out how to get it. But I also understand that these hiccups happen, and so I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna mentally adjust the syllabus a little bit, and I didn't show you the entire thing for this very reason. But so we're not gonna need this for this current week. As I record this, it is Monday, September 8th. So for this week, I'm going to adjust so that we don't need this. And I'll actually give you a little bit of a relatively light week. So I'm going to post our first major writing project. It's a personal writing piece. You can look at the assignment sheet at your leisure. I'm not going to explain it all right now. Of course, you can email if you have questions, but as Anne Lamott said, all good writing starts with a shitty first draft. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do for this week. Look at the assignment sheet. It's a person, like I said, it's personal. So figure out what your topic might be. And I'm going to ask you to generate at least one shitty first draft of this project and turn it in by next Monday. That's it. That'll be all we do, and we can figure this out, and then we can start doing the reading after that. So it'll be a relatively, I think, light week. So shitty first drafts. Remember, as Lamont told us, you are just writing. You're not worried about structure or form or spelling or any of that. Because this is a personal piece, sometimes students elect to make up some bunch of tiny shitty first drafts as opposed to a big one long one, so they can kind of pick which topic they want to do. But just know that the expectation is that by midnight next Monday, there is a first draft in Blackboard where I'm going to put it. So if you have questions, reach out. I'll be posting this video shortly, and I'll put up the assignment sheet and also put a place for you to put your first draft as well. And in the meantime, just try to find and locate that book. So Okay. Thank you.